the Gwitch Akara. Welcome back to the Mórrígan Academy podcast, where we explore the myths, magic and mysteries of Ireland's great battle goddess. I'm Lora O'Brien, modern Dree, priest of the Mórrígan for over 20 years now, and teacher and guide to students across the world who are seeking an authentic, culturally rooted connection to my Irish tradition. And today we are diving into one of the most powerful and possibly the most overlooked facets of the Mórrígan, her role as a prophet. Because if all you see of this goddess is the blood and the battle, you are truly missing one of the clearest ways she shows up in our lives. She speaks the truth because she sees it clearly from all angles, through all layers of history, and she calls you to do the same. So the Mórrígan as a prophet in our mythology. Let's start with the stories, because as always the lore is our anchor. In Cámachera, after the Tuatha Dé Danann defeat the Fómhuire, the Mórrígan doesn't just vanish off the field. She steps forward, she declares the victory, and then she speaks two poems, prophetic and powerful, the first of which foretells peace, prosperity and sovereignty for Ireland. And it's not just about celebrating the win, it's about shaping what's coming next. I'm going to read you just a small excerpt from my forthcoming book, The Mórrígan. Her declaration of victory and the prophecy following the battle serve to solidify her as a harbinger of fate, peace and continuity. She provides insight into both positive and negative futures in her prophecy poetry at the end here, because again she gives two poems. The Mórrigan's announcement of the Fómhuire's defeat and her subsequent pronouncement of peace reflect her dual capacity to bring about both war and renewal, emphasising her integral role in the cyclical nature of life and sovereignty in Irish mythology. Now, I believe that this is a prophecy regarding their immediate future, having won this battle. That's the first poem. And then the more negative view in her other poem is what comes after the tribes have been largely forgotten, a future it could be argued that we are living in today. So I would suggest that you go through the Cámachera. I'll put some links below if you want some help or some support on that, definitely. And obviously there's more on all of this in my book, which is out with Llewellyn in August 2025. You can find it at mórrigan.academy/book. Pre-order. But understanding that last bit, a future it could be argued that we are living in today, is really important because, you know, when a lot of people read those prophecy poems, they seem to see it as an either-or situation, but I really view it personally as here's what's coming next, and then here's where we're going in the future. And it's really at the heart of it. Like, the Mórrigan's prophecy isn't just about the battlefield, it's about what comes after, the land, the people, what we carry and what we forget. So prophecy isn't just prediction, it's power. In the Irish tradition, prophecy isn't just fortune telling. It's not about knowing the lottery numbers or predicting the next storm. It's the true sight of everything that's happening in that situation, past, present, future, relationships and networks that are affecting it, all of it. So it really is about the truth, seeing what is, naming what others avoid, and planting the seeds of what could be. And that's exactly what the Mórrígan does. And we see this again in the Tombo Regavna. She appears to Cuchulainn and warns him clearly what will happen if he refuses her aid. He laughs her off, and everything that she predicted comes to pass. She names herself as Ban Cain Chi in that text, a female satirist, or a truth speaker, literally. The Mórrigan's prophecy is never really passive. It's a warning. It gives us an edge. It gives you a chance to act if you're willing to hear it. So prophecy in Irish tradition is often done through poetry. And many of the Mórrigan's most powerful prophecies, come through rosc poetry. That's R-O-S-C. Now, we have a whole class on rosc poetry taught by Geraldine Byrne at the Irish Pagan School, if you want to go and look that up. Again, R-O-S-C. But this is a kind of old Irish poetry used in legal judgments, magical incantations, battle declarations, spells. It's raw, it's rhythmic, and it's not there to sound pretty or rhyme. It's there to cut through illusion. It connects the voice in this world with the wisdom or imbas of the other world. So speaking rosc was and is a way to claim space. It's always done in public, performed in public. A way to name injustice, and a way to set reality in motion, to make sure that change happens through the power of voice and noise, and again that connection to the other world. So when the Mórrigan steps forward and delivers her rosc poetry at the end of Cathmachira, she actually delivers multiple rosc poetry examples through that story of Cathmachira. I highly recommend Morgan Daimler's translation because everybody else kind of ignores the rosc poetry. But she isn't just being poetic, she's binding the future to the truth. She is giving Ireland its story and its challenge. And in the words of Guillermovich Epstein, who did an amazing dissertation on the Mórrigan, she is a goddess who speaks loud, chaotic, glorious and heroic truths, ones that are often uncomfortable but always necessary. Now, how is that relevant to you right now, today? Just maybe press pause, have a little think about that. When you come back, we have a personal story. So when the truth hits home, I would like to tell you about a time when I felt her prophetic power in my own life. So some years ago, I was working on a project that looked really good on paper. It was public facing, well received. It was something that I was kind of feeling pushed or pressured to do that ostensibly would have, given me great accolades. But deep down, I just knew that it was out of alignment. It was draining me. It was performative, but I kind of felt I had to. So I just kept going. Now, one night during a small ritual that I was doing, I sat in silence at the Mórrigan's altar. I wasn't asking for anything specific. I was just trying to be present. And Guthuban, suddenly in that quiet, I heard, "Why are you lying to yourself?" No drama, no fanfare, just that single line, a simple question. And I knew exactly what she meant. Now, the project ended the following week and I walked away. And yeah, it was messy. It was messy, but I slept through the night again for the first time in months. So her truth, the communication, the prophecy that she gives, the speaking truth that she will give to you when you are in right relationship with the Mórrigan, it won't ever flatter you. It won't let you off easily. But if you listen, it absolutely will bring the change that is necessary. And honestly, it can set you free. So how does prophecy show up in real life, in our own lives today? How does this, you might be wondering, how does this actually work for me? So just to give some examples of some real life signs that my own students have shared with me over the years. They would be maybe dreams that repeat a warning or a message, not always symbolic, sometimes direct. Like one student who dreamt that they were standing in a flooded field while a woman whispered, "You are not where you belong." Now, they were in a job at the time that didn't honour them, and within 6 weeks they left. And again, please don't come at me with your dreams. That is not my job to interpret your dreams. This person was interpreting their own dreams, right? But sharing in community through the Mórrigan Intensive with me and their peers, as we do. Mórrigan Intensive is opening up in June. Again, opens in June every year if you are interested in that level of community support. So how it shows up then is also words that you can't ignore. hearing a phrase over and over in strange places, or seeing a similar thing over and over again in places that are seemingly random, that you wouldn't expect to hear or see this particular thing. Because sometimes a rose is just a rose, right? So we don't want to be given too much focus on that. But like, for example, one of my students kept hearing "speak it aloud" everywhere. This particular phrase, "speak it aloud." It was showing up like on telly, in a song, even a stranger on the street said it to them as part of a random conversation. And they realised that they'd been hiding their own truth for years, and what they really needed to do was speak it aloud. And then you have those times when it shows up with absolutely sickening, gut-wrenching clarity. The moment when something really clicks and you realise exactly what has to change. And that is often something that is like fundamental, because usually we've been ignoring it, right? It's not always magical. It might feel like heartbreak, but it's hers. That's part of the understanding that we go into when we work with this goddess, that the change is necessary, the change will be shown to you, and if you continue down the path, the change, creating that change and making those changes will be expected of you, right? So, how can you listen to the Mórrigan's prophetic voice? If you want to build a relationship with the Mórrigan's role as prophet, here's where you can begin. I would suggest that you, number one, listen more than you ask. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? So hold quiet space, not for answers, but for truth. Number 2, journal everything. Anybody who's been around me for a hot minute, or, the last 20 years knows that keeping a record is my absolute prime spiritual advice for everything, but especially for the Mórrigan who works with prophecy. So you're going to be journaling everything. I keep it all in one journal so that I have context for everything. I recommend the bullet journal method. It doesn't work for everybody, but it has been a system that I've been using every single day since 2015, 2016, when and everything just goes into the one journal, and it's indexed, it's a system, the pages are numbered, and it means that I have a record of everything that goes on. And that includes dreams, nudges, words or phrases that stick, particular imagery that's coming up, anything like that. Really don't dismiss them. We want to be tracking them. Number 3, read the myths aloud, the mythology, especially the Cáthmailtíre. Feel how her words move through you. Her direct rosc poetry moves through you as part of that process of reading the mythology aloud. And again, there's resources for the Cáthmailtíre in the show notes below. So also then, number 4, you could be speaking your own rosc, creating your own rosc poetry. It doesn't need to be polished. It's really about speaking what you feel in this kind of rhythmic chanting motion, being in a space where you are open to a connection from the other world. Takes practice, but it's really about speaking what you feel, speaking what you know, and that's how your own personal prophecy begins. And if you want to start using tools as well, I recommend the Om as a tool for this, because there's a lot of layers to it. So you can go over to the Om Academy, OGHAM.academy, and you can find resources there if you want to dip into that. But I would really encourage you to learn the signs for yourself. And if you're ready to start working with that, to start recognizing the signs and responding with clarity and confidence, I have created a dedicated workshop to help called Is the Mórrigan Calling You? What are the signs? In which you can learn how to interpret the symbols, patterns and nudges with integrity and understanding of the Mórrigan. So again, the link will be below, but it's at Mórrigan.academy/signs. So just to finish up there today, the Mórrigan is a prophet, Ban Cainchi, a speaker of truth, a guardian of sovereignty. she doesn't just predict the future. She's not, an old lady sitting reading tarot cards for you. She helps you to shape it. She's guiding you in what the potential outcomes for. And nothing is completely given. But what she does is, when she gets her predictions and her prophecies, she works to make them happen in a way that is beneficial to her, beneficial to the tribe, beneficial to the work that she's doing, the bigger picture. And that's what she can offer you. She can help you to shape your future through clear eyes, courageous speech, and committed action. So if you've been hearing that kind of inner voice, asking for change, demanding truth, maybe she's already speaking to you. So again, I do recommend that you find out if the Mórrígan is calling you, what the signs are, all of that, links below. But until next time, honour the lore, respect the Mórrígan, and slán go fóill.